discussing about phase diagram. What are the salient features of phase diagram? And this pictorial representation talk about what are the, in reality, what are the phase diagram you are supposed to come across, and depending on the component present in the system, number of components present in the system, the phase diagram could be classified as phase diagram for one component system. You have only one system, that is water system, and the phase diagram for two component system. For when you talk about the phase component for two component system, the very first thing you must talk about is, are those two components do react each other or not? So when there are two components, the phase diagram could be classified as two. The components do react each other, the components do not react each other. When they do not react each other, there is a mixture, that's what we call eutectic mixture. The components which are completely miscible but do not react is what we call eutectic mixture. The best example is silver lead system. Eutectic mixture means, you know that there is a term called depression in freezing point when you add some impurity to a solvent. So at higher temperature, lead and silver also could be a liquid. So when you add an external solvent, generally the freezing point will be depressed, there will be decrease in freezing point. So here, for example, if you take lead and silver, the depression, there will be depression in freezing point for lead, there will be depression in freezing point for silver. So what happened? They are going to freeze at the lowest temperature. That temperature is what we call eutectic point. We'll talk about eutectic mixture. And if those two components are reacting each other, then there is another categorization. First one, they do not react, and second one, they do react. If they do react, the the system having congruent melting point is one category. Best example is zinc and magnesium. System having incongruent melting point is another example. Sodium and potassium system. Here the congruent melting point means the composition of the melting means it is the process conversion of a solid to liquid. Opposite is freezing, liquid will get converted to solid. What will happen is, during this conversion, if you look at the composition of the substance in the liquid state and the substance in the solid state, both will have identical composition. That's why we call it as congruent melting point. There is no identical composition, then it is called incongruent melting point. We'll talk about this in detail. Now let us move into the phase diagram of water.
Hi all. Now we'll discuss about the phase diagram of the water system. One of the very important and repeatedly asked question in the university exam. So we have almost discussed about phase diagram by taking water as an example. So what you need to do now is, you have to draw this phase diagram in a notebook. And very important point that you have to note here is, the freezing point decreases. Which is that freezing point line? See, this is that freezing point line, this line. And this line, what is the speciality? If you take any other substance like metals and all, this freezing point line will be like this. That means the freezing point increases with the decreasing pressure, but here the freezing point decreases slightly with the decreasing pressure. That's what this line represents. That is what the speciality of water. And why it decreases? You know that water is having a special property, that's what we call anomalous expansion of water. Anomalous expansion of water, what is the mother reason for that? The reason is hydrogen bonding. So only water is having that hydrogen bonding, intermolecular hydrogen bonding. If you take the hydrates of 16th group elements, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, they are as you move down, the melting point is supposed to decrease, so that the water is supposed to have highest, means it's not highest actually. Water is supposed to have a melting point somewhere in minus values, but the water is having freezing point in 0 degrees Celsius. It's because water is supposed to be a gas. That's why H2S is gas. But water is not a gas. At normal temperature it is liquid. Why it is liquid? It is because of intermolecular hydrogen bonding. That anomalous expansion property only make water to have this property, that is freezing point decreases slightly with the decreasing pressure. No other substance can have this property. So that's what the point you have to note down. So you can draw this diagram in a white paper. Now let's discuss about the characteristics of this water system. So let the phase diagram be on the left side. We have discussed almost all the things. So there are 3 curves. One is OA, OB and OC, and there is one triple point, and the areas, there are 3 areas: AOC, AOB and BOC. Under normal condition, the system water in 3 phases, one component system. So you have to mention how many phases and how many components. So water system is a one component 3 phase system, and the 3 phases involved are liquid water, ice water and water vapor. All those phases can represented by one chemical entity. That's why we call one component system, and hence one component system. The number of the phases which can exist in equilibrium anytime depends on the conditions of the temperature and pressure. We have already discussed about the triple point. Only at that particular temperature and pressure 3 phases are at equilibrium. All other conditions 2 phases are at equilibrium. So the salient features are this: the curves, triple point and the areas. First we will talk about the curves. We have already discussed OA, OB and OC. These 3 curves meet at the point O and divide the diagram into 3 regions or areas. The curve OA, the vapor pressure curve of water, that's what we call curve OA. It represents the vapor pressure of the liquid water at a different temperature. So we have already discussed. The 2 phases, water and water vapor, coexist in equilibrium along this curve. The curve OA terminates at A. That's a point you need to understand. And the point A is what we call critical point, and the critical point means it is represented over there 218 atmosphere. It's not such a small pressure, it is very high pressure, and the temperature is 374 degrees Celsius. When the liquid and the vapor are indistinguishable from each other, and here is left one phase only. So at that critical point, you can't discriminate between the vapor phase and the liquid phase of water. If you really want to see what is that state, you have to go inside the cooker while you are cooking something. So when the whistle comes out, the What is the state of the water inside the cooker? If you ask, it's not neither liquid. It should say like it's both liquid and vapor, but you can't discriminate between them. There is no boundary. Like if you look at the surface of the river at some winter season, you could see the vapors are moving up and liquid will be there. You could see a boundary level, but inside the cooker there will not be any boundary. That state is what we call critical point. So when the liquid and the vapor are indistinguishable from each other and there is left one phase only. When the vapor pressure is equal to 1 atmosphere, so there are 2 points you have to discuss about when you are discussing about the curve OA, that is the vaporization curve. Point number 1, critical point, it is a 218 atmosphere and 374 degrees Celsius, and you need to discuss about the boiling point. The boiling point is at 1 atmospheric pressure and 100 degrees Celsius. So the corresponding temperature as indicated on the phase diagram is the boiling point. It is represented in the diagram. Then the fact that OC slopes to the left indicates that the melting point of the ice decreases with, you can even say deep freezing point of the ice decreases with the increase of pressure, since ice melts with the decrease in volume. And there is another way of telling the same point is on the basis of Le Chatelier principle. We'll discuss about the Le Chatelier principle. The melting point is lowered by increase of pressure. It may be noted that the 1 atmosphere line meets the fusion curve at 0 degrees Celsius, which is the normal melting point of ice. So there are 2 points about the vapor pressure curve and melting point. There is 1 point, it is at the middle, means it is almost nearby the triple point. So hope you understood. The curve OC, the fusion curve of ice, it depicts the effect of pressure. I did a mistake actually. This point must come at the beginning. So it's okay, you can read now. So we were talking about the curve OC. So as far as the vaporization curve is concerned, 2 points, that is the critical point and boiling point. As far as the melting point is concerned, you have to talk about the freezing curve or the melting curve. But there is only 1 point, that is at what temperature and pressure the water freezes or it melts. And the third point is curve OB, the sublimation curve of the ice. It shows the sublimation. It is the process of camphor actually, but it is even possible in case of water also. We have discussed the first day in the Google Meet, that is when the pressure is very low, you can even expect sublimation. The sublimation curve of the ice, it shows the vapor pressure of the solid ice at different temperatures. The 2 phases, solid ice and the vapor, coexist in equilibrium along this curve. At the lower limit of the curve OB terminates at absolute zero, minus 273 degrees Celsius, where no vapors exist. Where no vapors exist means water will not disappear. It's only like this. You cannot expect any molecule of water in vapor state when the temperature is minus 273 degrees Celsius. Along the curve OA, OB, OC, there are 2 phases in equilibrium and 1 component. Therefore, so if you find out the degree of freedom for curve F is equal to C minus P plus 2, we have already discussed, that is equal to 1. Hence, each 2-phase system, water vapor represented by OA, ice water vapor represented by OB, ice water represented by OC, are having 1 degree of freedom, so it is monovariant. Then now let's discuss about the triple point. You just mark which is the triple point. You have already drawn the phase diagram for water. the curve OA, OB, OC meets at the triple point O, where all the three phases, liquid water, the ice and water vapor, are in equilibrium. This occurs at 0.0076 degrees Celsius and vapor pressure 4.58 millimeter of mercury. Since there are three phases and one component, we have F is equal to C minus P plus 2, that is equal to 1 minus 3 plus 2, 0. It is non-variant system. The system at the triple point is non-variant. Thus, if either pressure or the temperature is changed, the three phases would not exist and one of the phase would disappear. And the areas or the regions between the curve shows the conditions of the temperature and the pressure under which a single phase ice, water, that is ice, water and the vapor. The area AOC represents the conditions for the one phase system, where the one phase system, water or vapor is capable of stable existence. This area AOC represents conditions for the one phase system, water. We are discussing about the area. The area or the region between the curves shows the conditions of the temperature and the pressure under which a single phase, it could be ice or water or the liquid, the vapor could exist. Area AOC, so you please look at the diagram you have drawn, represents the condition for the one phase system, that is water or vapor is capable of stable existence. AOC. Actually, AOC means water vapor is capable of stable existence. This area AOC represents condition for the one phase system of water. Area AOB represents condition for the one phase system water vapor. AOB.
Conditions for the one phase system water vapor. Area BOC represents condition for the one phase system ice. In all the three areas, there being one phase and one component, we have F is equal to 2. Thus each system, water, water vapor and ice has 2 degrees of freedom. So this is the phase diagram of water system, and I have a question. This question is called in-class question, and your internal mark will be connected to the submission of the in-class question. So the question is, you might have drawn this phase diagram of water. I haven't discussed about a particular point, a particular concept, that is what we call supercooling. This part, and this part, this curve is that dotted blue line curve is called metastable curve. So the question is, what does metastable curve means for the phase diagram of water? So you have to explain it, and you have to write it. You have to write it down in an A4 sheet paper, and you have to take a photo of that and convert it into PDF and upload it into Google Classroom. I am going to share the link for Google Classroom also. So first question is, what do you mean by this metastable curve which is seen in the phase diagram of water? You have one more question, you will get it, the second question. So what you need to do, you have to draw the phase diagram of water, you have to draw the phase diagram of sulfur, and you have to answer to these two questions. One question will come in the immediate future.
Yes, we are continuing with the phase diagram. So we already discussed about the characteristics of the phase diagram, and what about the phase diagram of water? Now we are going to discuss about the phase diagram of sulfur. Again, sulfur is a one component 4 phase system. That's what the headline you have to remember. It contain only one chemical identity, that is sulfur. Here the difference comparing to water, it is sulfur is having two solid state and two allotropes are possible. What is allotropy? Allotropy is the property of a solid substance in order to occur in two different forms. Carbon can have around 46 allotropes. It is graphite, gold, coke, charcoal, diamond, all those, fullerene, all are the allotropic form of carbon. Luckily, sulfur is having only two allotropes. That's why it has got four-phase system. So the four phases are two solid polymorphic forms. That one is rhombic sulfur, the other one is monoclinic sulfur, and along with that sulfur liquid and sulfur vapors. All the four phases can be represented by the single chemical formula, that is sulfur itself, and hence it is one component system. The two crystalline forms of sulfur, that is orthorhombic sulfur, or it could be told rhombic sulfur, and monoclinic sulfur exhibit enantiotropy, that's allotropy, with a transition point 95.6 degrees Celsius. Below this temperature, monoclinic is stable, while above it, the temperature, sulfur is in the stable variety. That is at 95.6 degrees Celsius, each form can be gradually transformed to the other, and the two are in equilibrium at 120 degrees Celsius. And sulfur Sm, actually it is supposed to be written S subscript M, melts. Thus there exists an equilibrium, that is between the rhombic sulfur at 95, between the rhombic sulfur at 95.6 degrees Celsius, convert to monoclinic at 120 degrees Celsius, convert to liquid sulfur. Please look at the diagram. You have to draw this diagram in your notebook. They used to ask, equally important to water, they used to ask to draw the phase diagram of sulfur and explain it. It comes like this. See the fusion curve. Its slope is towards right. Therefore, water is slightly towards left. Sulfur system. And recall, we have discussed about water. There are curves, there are areas, and there are points. And here in this case, there are four curves, A, B, B, C, C, D. Not only four, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 curves. The three triple points. There in water only one triple point, here three triple points. Which are those triple points? Can you point out those triple points? This is one triple point, this is one triple point, and this is one triple point. I need you to cross verify. I have already mentioned that there are 6 curves. Are they correct or not? And the 4 areas, the areas are ABG, marked as solid rhombic, BEC, it's marked as solid monoclinic, and it is GECD, marked as liquid sulfur, and ABCD marked as sulfur vapor. Now let's discuss about the curves AB, BC, CD, BC, EG. These 6 curves divide the diagram into 4 areas. The curve AB, the vapor pressure for curve for SR, rhombic sulfur. It shows the vapor pressure of the solid rhombic sulfur at different temperatures. Along this curve, the two phase, that is SR and sulfur vapor, that is the vapor state of sulfur, are in equilibrium. The system is monovariant. You don't have to worry anything. You have to identify which is the curve, look what is there on the right hand side of the curves and what is the phase on the left hand side. You have to just keep writing. This curve represents the dynamic equilibrium between so and so phases. So it is rhombic sulfur and vapor sulfur has 1 degrees of freedom. Means the curve will have 1 degrees of freedom. You already learned. So according to the phase rule, it is monovariant. Then the curve BC, the vapor pressure of the curve SM, monoclinic sulfur, shows the variation of the vapor pressure of the monoclinic sulfur SM with temperature SM and which is the curve BC. BC means the curve is this bottom line. So BC, bottom side vapor is there, upper side solid is there. So solid monoclinic and vapor is a monovariant one. So a curve CD, the vapor pressure curve of SL liquid, see cross verify. It depicts the variation of the vapor pressure of the liquid sulfur with temperature. SL and SV are in equilibrium along CD, the two-phase system, that is liquid sulfur and vapor pressure. According to phase rule, it is monovariant. The degree of freedom is 1 atmosphere line meets this curve at a temperature that is 444 degrees Celsius, which is the boiling point of sulfur, not the point. Then the curve B, it is called the transition curve. Transition means it is the transition of the one allotrope to the other allotrope. That's what we call transition temperature. It shows the effect of the pressure on the transition temperature for SR and SM, rhombic and monoclinic, as two solid phases are in equilibrium along the curve. The system SR to SM is monovariant. The transformation of SR and SM is accompanied by increase of the volume, that is the density of SR rhombic is 2.04, for monoclinic it is 1.9, and absorption of heat. That means SR plus Q gives SM. That means SM will have more heat content than SR. So actually the conversion to SM happens by the absorption of heat by rhombic sulfur. Thus the increase of the pressure will shift the equilibrium to the left. It is according to Le Chatelier principle, and the transition temperature will therefore be raised. This is why the line BE slopes away from the pressure axis, showing thereby that the transition temperature is raised with the increase of pressure. Then the curve CE, it is called the fusion curve of monoclinic sulfur. It represents the effect of the pressure on the melting point of SM. The two phases in equilibrium along this curves are SM and SL. The system SM and SL is monovariant, as the melting or fusion of SM is accompanied by a slight increase of volume. The melting point will raise by increase of pressure. It is according to Le Chatelier principle. Thus the curve CE slopes slightly away from the pressure axis. The curve ends at E because SM ceases to exist beyond this point. Curve EG, it is called the fusion curve for rhombic sulfur. Here the two phases in the equilibrium are S, the number of phases being 2, the SR and SL. Now we'll talk about the triple point. There are three triple point as we discussed. So 3 triple points are non-variant. This is the melting point of the 3 curves AB, BC, BE. That is triple point B. We have already mentioned the first triple point. 3 faces solid. So what does triple point means? 3 faces are joining together. There being 3 faces and 1 component. The system SR bar SM bar SL is non-variant. So according to phase rule, F is equal to C minus P plus 2 is equal to minus 1 minus 3 plus 2, non-variant. At B, SR is changed to SM and the process is reversible. Thus the temperature corresponding to B is the transition temperature, that is 95.6 degrees Celsius. And the triple point C, the curve BC, CD, CE meets at the triple point, and the 3 faces in the equilibrium are SM, SL and SV. There being 3 faces and 1 component, the system SM bar SL bar SV is non-variant. The temperature corresponding to C as indicated on the phase diagram is 120 degrees Celsius. This is the melting point of SM. And the last point, triple point E, the 2 lines CE and BE having different inclination away from the pressure axis meet at E, where the third line EG also joins. The 3 faces SR, SM and SL are in equilibrium and the system at the point E is non-variant. The point gives the condition of existence. The system SR, SM and SL at 155 degrees Celsius and 1290 atmosphere of pressure. Now what is left out is about the area we have to discuss. The phase diagram of the sulfur system has 4 areas of region. These are labeled as rhombic sulfur, monoclinic sulfur, liquid sulfur and vapor sulfur. These represents the single phase system which have 2 degrees of freedom. F is equal to C minus P plus 2, that is 1 minus 1 plus 2 is equal to 2. That is, each of the system SR, SM and SL and SV are bivariant. So that's what about the sulfur. And the second question is, a given metal melts at 1650 Kelvin at 1 atmosphere and at 1700 Kelvin at 100 atmosphere. Predict which phase of this metal is more dense. Is it the solid or liquid? That's the question, and you need to explain your conclusion. So this is the question number